Bow-only challenges have been done many times before, but what about a bow-only challenge where you can't use arrows? I'm not entirely sure, I didn't dig too deep. But in any case, that's what we'll be doing today. For rules, no shooting arrows with a bow, no duping for the purpose of leveling, no AI trigger skips, and no summons. With this said, let's begin. We're going to start this run off as a hunter, with the pendant as our gift. You'll see why we're choosing the pendant shortly. Proceed through the Asylum as normal, up to the first hollow you encounter after the boulder trap. What we're going to do next will look very familiar to those of you who watched my minimum attacks run. Leer the hollow back to the first ladder, and get him to fall down. Once he does, quickly make your way over to your bow, and grab it. You'll want to wait here for a bit to leer the next hollow out, then bait out the hollow behind him. If you leer them both at the same time, they can get stuck on each other and block the path forward. Bring them down to the ladder, and get them to fall down. The first hollow will be stuck on the ladder, blocking the other two from coming back up. Now it's time for the hard part. Equipping your armor here is not a bad idea, as there's a high chance you're going to be hit with arrows. We need to perform true Asylum skip. This is done by dropping an item at the right corner of the fog gate, lining up your camera on a specific angle, turning your character forward without moving, then pressing A on your controller to enter the fog gate, followed by pressing E on your keyboard to pick up the item one frame later. This causes you to enter the fog gate at a weird angle and clip into the wall. I have a dedicated tutorial for this skip, which I'll link in the description. The bow makes it easy enough to turn without moving, but being unable to do anything about the archer makes this trick much more annoying. If you get hit before your character finishes turning, you'll be knocked out of the entering animation, and will need to try again. Your best bet is to line up the angle, dodge an arrow, zoom in to lock the angle, move back into the corner, dodge one more arrow, then attempt the trick. With the right luck, your character will finish turning just before you're hit, and you'll walk into the wall. Now in the wall, wait for your character to rise up for a bit, then run, turn, and jump. If done correctly, you'll go over the railing and escape the Asylum without attacking. Before heading to Lordran, grab the soul on the left, and trade the pendant with Snuggly. In exchange for the pendant, we'll be given a souvenir of reprisal, which will come in handy a bit later. Now in Lordran, it's time to start setting up for this challenge. Some of you are likely wondering how this challenge is even going to be possible. You can't deal damage with a bow without arrows, right? Fortunately for us, Dark Souls is an incredibly broken game, and we're going to take advantage of that. First, we're going to dupe the soul we picked up. Don't worry, we're not going to be using these souls to level or buy any normally obtainable items. Go through Petra's dialogue and enter his shop menu. Utilize the prompt swap glitch to change to the weapon category while selecting Seek Guidance. This will allow us to buy an invalid weapon with the ID of Seek Guidance. Equip the invalid weapon to your left hand and have your bow in your right hand. And bam, melee bow achieved. Now let me tell you a bit about why bows make terrible melee weapons. First, let's see what happens when I smack the Crestfallen Warrior with my bow. As you can see, it bounces off even though I meet the stat requirements. Why is this? Well, it's because bows are always meant to be used two-handed, so the listed strength requirement is actually the requirement for two-handing the bow. If I level my strength to 16, the bow will no longer bounce off. The next fun thing is that while the invalid weapon lets us perform a combo attack with the bow, only the first attack is actually capable of dealing damage. Bows do not normally have combo attacks, so after the first hit, there's no data for the rest of the combo, so it neither deals damage nor consumes stamina. So you can do an infinite combo with your bow that's completely useless. Going back to the bow bouncing off of enemies, there are some enemies that the bow will bounce off of regardless of strength level. This only seems to happen with heavily armored enemies, but I don't actually know why it's the case. If you happen to know why this is the case, let me know in the comments. Next up, you can't perform critical attacks with a bow. Neither backstabs nor riposts are possible. Here's one of the stranger ones. If you try to do a running attack, you'll just end up performing a normal light attack. However, if you do a backstep running attack, you do actually get a running attack. Rolling attacks work as normal, but you can't perform jump or plunge attacks. Due to R2 triggering the arrow toggle, heavy attacks, just like 5, are right out. Back to the run. The next thing we're going to do is collect the Homeward Bones, then warp with the Dark Sign to get rid of the dirty duped souls. Next, head down to New Londo Ruins. We're not here to go to the Valley of Drakes, as we don't have the Master Key. We're here to get the main weapon we'll be using for this run. As you go through the ruins, you can run left into this wall to get the ghost that normally blocks your path to move out of the way. Save and quit when you get here to reset the ghosts and make things a bit easier. Carry on towards the seal, grabbing this soul along the way, then proceed up the stairs next to the seal, where we'll find the best melee bow in the game, the composite bow. Return to Firelink and start making your way into the Burg. We won't be doing anything out of the ordinary along the way to the bonfire, so head straight there. Our next destination is the Taurus demon. We can't use our composite bow effectively right now, and even if we could, the damage would be very underwhelming. Fortunately, by performing a specific series of actions as we enter the demon's arena, we can get him to fall off the ledge pretty consistently. Grab the soul after the fog gate, then trigger the Hellkite Drake and return to the bonfire. Dump all of the souls into strength so we can actually make use of our bow. Our next goal is to get 9,200 souls. Use both souls we picked up to get started. To get the rest of the souls, we're going to use the classic Drake farm. You get 555 souls per run, so it isn't too bad. You'll want to stop one run short of reaching 9,200, as we'll be running through here one more time anyway. Next, head over to the Male Undead Merchant and buy the Residence Key. From there, head back up to the Drake and wait here for him to jump down. When he does, run past him, open the gate, and grab the bonfire. Carry on towards the parish as normal, grabbing the basement key along the way. Make your way over to Andre, buy 9 shards, and upgrade the composite bow to +5. With that done, head into Darkroot Garden, all the way down to the Grasscrest Shield. Carry on to the Valley of Drakes, grabbing the red Tearstone Ring and the soul between the dragon's talons. Take the back entrance into Blighttown and grab the key to New Londo Ruins. Continue on the normal path down and start heading towards the route that leads into the Great Hollow. Underneath the route, you'll find 2 leeches guarding a green Titanite shard. After grabbing the shard, either warp out or die. Either way is fine. Head back to the parish and make for the elevator to Firelink. Grab the Firekeeper soul along the way. Back in Firelink, you can either upgrade your flask now, or after the next step. Either way, we'll be heading back to Blighttown. On the way there, grab the soul behind the door. Our new objective is to get power within. To start off, roll on the side of this hill at a tight angle to land safely below. From there, follow this path. When you get here, run around the wall to the opposite side, then run into the wall to build up speed, and jump across to the scaffolding below. Head inside the nearby cave and quit out to reset the toxic blowpiper. When you load back in, equip your armor before heading up the ladder to reduce the chance of getting inflicted with toxic. Make your way through the fog gate to the ladder, wait for the ghoul to come down the ladder, and kick him off. You can kick with the bow as long as you have the invalid weapon in your left hand, so I'm counting it as a bow attack. Head up the following ladder, and run past the enemies to the area behind the wall hugger. Quit out to reset the enemies, and boot the nearest ghoul off the ledge when you load back in. From there we can safely take out the wall hugger with our bow, dealing an incredible 14 damage per hit. This is gonna take a little while. After a minute or two of smacking the wall hugger, it'll be no more, and we can grab power within. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to get a pyromancy flame currently. After grabbing the spell, you'll likely have a couple thousand souls, so use a bone to warp out. Put the souls towards getting 10 attunement and 10 intelligence. Upgrade your flask now, if you didn't do so earlier. Return to the Burg, this time using the key to open the house with the gold pine resins. Carry on to the basement door, and head into the lower Burg. Tell the dogs they should have learned to stop, drop, and roll, and free Griggs. Smash the barrel with the corpse in it to get the sorcerer outfit, and a catalyst. It's now time to take on the Gargoyles. Make your way up to them, running past all of the enemies. When you get to their fog gate, quit out. The reason we need to quit out here is because we can't normally use gold pine resin on a bow. To use it, we'll need to perform a glitch called item swap. This is done by attempting to use the resin, buffering a weapon toggle, falling off of a ledge to interrupt the toggle, and using an item we can use on the frame we touch the ground. It's frame perfect, so it may take a few tries. If we didn't quit out to reset the enemies, they'd also be hitting us through the wall, making it even more difficult. You'll know you've done it correctly when your hand starts glowing with lightning. From there, start the fight with the gargoyles. The plan was to get the first gargoyle close to 50% health, then cut his tail and finish him off during the reaction animation. Unfortunately, right as I triggered the second gargoyle, I got hit by the shaft of his halberd, which I didn't even know could hit you during the tail swing. This messed up my plan, and I had to improvise with a very messy fight. As long as the first gargoyle goes down before the resin wears off, the fight shouldn't be too bad. When it does, you'll lose the majority of your damage though. With the gargoyles defeated, ring the bell, and bone out. Back in Firelink, buy Soul Arrow and Magic Weapon from Griggs. Spend the remaining souls getting 12 attunement, 11 intelligence, and dumping the remainder into Faith. From there, you'll want to attune Soul Arrow and Magic Weapon. Don't worry, we won't be using Soul Arrow to attack anything. Make your way to the bonfire behind the illusory wall in Darkroot Garden. From there, carry on through the fog gate leading to the Moonlight Butterfly. Now it's time to put the spells we bought to use. First, use the move swap glitch to two-hand the catalyst in your left hand. From there, perform spell swap by casting Soul Arrow with your left hand, followed by casting Magic Weapon with your right hand one frame later. Doing this will let us buff our bow with Magic Weapon. Our buff bow will do a massive 36 damage per hit to the living tree. Take it out. With the tree out of the way, head up and grab the wolf ring. The next boss on our list is the Moonlight Butterfly, and what a fight it's going to be. You'll want to equip the Sorcerer set for maximum magic defense. Most of the butterfly's attacks are pretty easy to avoid. The one exception is the fast double attack. It comes out at random angles, tracks, and can be hard to react to at times. My personal method to try avoiding it is to strafe the first attack and roll the second. You'll sometimes get angles that aren't possible to avoid, and in those cases, it's better to block the first and then roll the second. Throughout this fight, I'm going to try to stand beside this flat green plant on the ground. Why? Because if the butterfly is on the right side of the bridge, it'll keep attacking, but most of its attacks will get blocked by the ruined wall. While it's doing this, it gives us a perfect opportunity to move swap, spell swap, and buff our bow with Magic Weapon. Magic Weapon will give us more than a 50% damage increase per hit, bringing us up to 30 damage per hit from 19. You'll want to buff your bow anytime the butterfly is staying on the right side of the bridge. Eventually, the butterfly will come in for a landing, and you can smack it with your bow. When it starts charging its explosion, you have enough time for 2 or 3 more attacks depending on your stamina, and if you're already in the attacking animation or not. A single roll to the side will get you out of the explosion's range. This fight is very long and tedious in this setup, in this case taking nearly 17 minutes due to having to wait for the butterfly to land. Nevertheless, persistence will get you through the fight. We can now collect the reason we bothered fighting the butterfly at all, the Divine Ember. Warp back to the bonfire, then return to the parish and give Andre the Ember. Upgrade the bow to Divine. Dump the souls from the butterfly into Faith, then return to Firelink. Act like a bow and shoot Lautrec off the edge, then make for Blight Town. Meme roll your way down, and head towards Quelaag. Before entering, you'll want to buff your bow with Magic Weapon. With Magic Weapon on our Divine Bow, we deal a whopping 47 damage per hit, the biggest damage we've seen so far. Outside of the incredible damage we're dealing, it's a pretty standard Quelaag fight. When Magic Weapon wears off, we'll only deal 15 damage per hit, but that's still better than the 9 damage you'd get with the second best option, a Magic Composite Bow. Fortunately, we don't need to leave our bow unbuffed. Lure Quelaag to the back left of her arena, then run over to this safe spot. She'll get stuck on the eggs and be unable to reach you, giving you unlimited time to buff again. A handful of buffs later, she'll go down, and we can ring the second bell. After doing so, head into the demon ruins, smack one of the egg carriers, and let yourself be grabbed. Head back to the illusory wall and get Einji, Enji, the dude whose name nobody knows how to pronounce, to let you through. Wait for Egghead to take effect, then speak to whatever his name is to get an Egg Vermifuge and a Pyromancy Flame. We can finally use Power Within. Use a bone to get back to Firelink, then make your way to the Undead Parish. Buy the Smith Box from Andre, then level up Faith, but save at least 3,000 souls. Next, we're going to perform the prompt swap glitch from the wooden arrows to the Bastard Sword. This will let us buy a glitch stack of 999 Bastard Swords. Bringing up a prompt on the sword after this will store a quantity of negative 998 in memory. We can then use the brightness dupe to drop negative 998 of our Souvenir of Reprisal, giving us a stack of 99. We could of course farm souvenirs legitimately in the painted world, but if you want to save yourself a few hours, just do this. On the way into Sen's fortress, grab the soul from here, then continue on as normal to the top. Grab another soul from here, then drop down to the bonfire. Head into the Crestfallen Merchant's Tower, go down to the bottom, and grab the cage key. Continue forward, and head back down using the cage elevator. Wake up the sleeping manserpent, and get him to break the wall. From there, you can free Logan if you want, though we won't actually need him at all in this run. And more importantly, you can grab the soul of a hero. Return to the bonfire and pop the Brave Warrior, Large Brave Warrior, Hero, and Quelaag souls. This should net you 31,000 souls, which is enough for our purposes. Head over to the Crestfallen Merchant and buy 6 green Titanite shards. Back at the bonfire, upgrade the Divine Bow to +4. Swap out Soul Arrow for Power Within, and then head up to the Iron Golem. To start off, move swap the Pyromancy Flame into your left hand, then spell swap from Power Within to Magic Weapon to buff your bow. Afterwards, cast Power Within, and we've massively upped our damage potential. But remember how bows bounce off heavily armored enemies? Well, the Iron Golem is one of those. So even with both buffs applied, we only get 29 damage per hit. Your best bet for taking him out is to make him fall off the ledge before your buffs wear off. If you miss it, just reset and try again. It seems to take around 10 hits to get him to stagger in this setup, so as you're getting close to that number, you'll want to make sure he's sideways on the bridge so he falls off. If you tried to kill him normally, you're in for a very, very slow fight. At the bonfire, dump the souls into Faith. Anor Londo is going to be pretty standard until you get to the rotating staircase. Once there, you'll want to move it all the way down and head into Darkmoon Tomb. When you get there, jump from the gravestone into the statue of Gwyn and save and quit. On reloading, the stand-up animation will destroy the statue, allowing us to join the Darkmoon Covenant. From there, offer at least 30 Souvenirs of Reprisal to get Darkmoon Blade at full power. Carry on through the rest of Anor Londo and stop in at the Giant Blacksmith. Pop the Iron Golem's core, and you should have enough souls for 3 more green shards and to upgrade the bow to +5. Back at the bonfire, swap magic weapon for Darkmoon Blade, then proceed to Owendes. Save and quit before their fog gate to reset the enemies, and apply the buffs just like at the Iron Golem. I won't make a joke about our damage this time, as it's actually pretty good. Owendes are still Owendes though, so don't expect a free victory. The key to victory, like with most Owendes fights, is taking down Ornstein as quickly as possible. If you get knocked into red Tearstone Ring range and you're confident about not getting hit again, the extra damage is quite helpful. Keep in mind that your health will still be draining from Power Within. With Ornstein down, the fight with Smough should be easy enough. It's unlikely that the buffs will last long enough to take down Smough as well, so our DPS will slow significantly. Note that unlike what you'd normally do in a fight against Smough, I'm not attacking during his hammer slams, as the attack animation applied to the bow will actually cause you to be hit. I did overcommit on attacks once during one of his butt slams, but as long as you aren't running when it hits you, you'll live if you're close to full health. I also took advantage of it reactivating the ring to up my DPS. Get more faith and the Lord Vessel. Afterwards, return to Firelink and place it. Our next destination is the Catacombs, and we'll want to drop down straight to Pinwheel. Even in an arrowless bow-only challenge, Pinwheel is not much of a threat. Mask of the Father, for those who were curious. Carry on to the first tomb bonfire, and get more faith. Head into the chamber with the large divine ember, and grab it. It'll likely be a one-way trip, so don't worry if you die. Head through the rest of the tomb into the room with the pinwheels. Take the path on the left to grab a white Titanite slab, then drop down to find a corpse with a white Titanite chunk. Head up to Nito's fog gate and quit out. When you load back in, you can safely take out the nearest pinwheel and grab a soul of a hero from the nearby ledge. Drop down on the right, and there's another pinwheel you can safely take out. Each pinwheel has a base 10% chance to drop a white Titanite chunk, with a small chance to drop 2 at once. These are the only 2 you can attack without something else aggroing. Either repeat this until you have 7 chunks, or just use the glitched bastard sword at Andre to dupe the one you picked up. In any case, use the large soul of a nameless soldier, give Andre the ember, and upgrade the bow to +10. Make your way back to Nito's cave, buff, and enter the fight. Wait for Nito to come forward, and in the meantime take out the skeletons. Due to our bow being divine, they won't revive. Nito isn't particularly difficult without the skeletons, so take advantage of the red Tearstone Ring if you're confident you won't be hit. With the souls from Nito, I hit my goal of 40 faith, so all further levels will go towards vitality. Make your way into the Duke's archives, head up the elevator leading to the encounter with Sif, and perform Duke Skip. Before entering the room with the clams, you may want to pop a humanity for curse resistance and set up move swap. Buff as Sith approaches, then smash the crystal when he gets close. There are only really 2 attacks to watch out for, his close breath attack and his explosion. If you don't give yourself enough room to run away when he explodes, you're pretty much doomed. Outside of those factors, he's tanky but not too difficult. Keep smacking him, and he will eventually go down. The red Tearstone ring is, as usual, an option to speed up the unbuffed part of the fight if you're confident you won't be hit. Return to Blighttown, and head into the Demon Ruins. Ceaseless is next, and of course we're going to take advantage of the intended cheese. Loot his sister's corpse, run back to the entrance, and hit him 6 times for a free win. Carry on to the next bonfire, but be careful of the worm. Immediately after is Fire Sage, and I don't have much to say. Compared to some of the previous bosses, he's a breeze. Following Fire Sage, we have Senti. Head over to the safer area to the right, set up your buffs, and take him down when he comes on land. Not much else to it. There's not much to say about the journey through Lost Izalith. You just run past a bunch of stuff to get to everyone's favorite boss. In this video, I'll be doing something I've never done in a video before, fighting the Bed of Chaos without firebombs. So how do we make this miserable fight less miserable? First, take out the shield generating tree on the right, then quit out. Re-enter and stick to the outer edge on the left. When you get to the gap, just jump across, if this doesn't happen. After jumping, immediately roll a couple times, as there's a decent chance you'll be slapped. As long as you aren't running, you should live, even if you do get hit. After destroying the tree, quit out again. Re-enter the fight for hopefully the final time, and finish up as normal. Even a melee bow can one-shot the bug. Make sure you've got at least 20,000 souls, and buy the Crest of Artorias from Andre. Pop the souls in your inventory if you need to. Head over to Sif's trigger, buff up, and take out the big wolf. The fight will be a pretty normal Sif fight, with Sif jumping around and being annoying. Time for the final Lord Soul. I will be using Seal Skip to enter the fight, but for the sake of doing things more legitimately, I'm going to lower the water level first. Quit out when you get to the ladder to give yourself a better chance of making it up alive. After successfully climbing the ladder, speak to Ingward to get the key, open the door, and lower the water. Unlike most of the other bosses we fought, we won't be using Power Within against the Four Kings, as it doesn't last long enough. Instead, we're going to let one of the ghosts smack us to trigger the red Tearstone ring. From there, perform Seal Skip, and we're ready to fight. When you land in the Abyss, spell swap Darkmoon Blade onto your bow. Darkmoon Blade should last long enough to take out the first two kings. Afterwards, you'll be relying solely on the red Tearstone ring for the damage boost. Be sure to take advantage of the king's lingering hurt boxes after they die. Return to the Lord Vessel, and offer the Lord Souls. It's time to finish the run. The run through the kiln is no different than normal, just save and quit outside of Gwyn's Fog Gate. Like with most of the other bosses, you'll want to buff before going into the fight. Unlike the other bosses, you'll want to swap the Pyromancy Flame back out for the Grass Crest shield. We can't riposte Gwyn, but we can still parry him. So the strategy here is parry, toggle over to the invalid weapon and smack Gwyn, then toggle back to the shield. Repeat until he's dead. And that's pretty much it for this video. You don't even need arrows to beat Dark Souls with a bow. I hope you found it entertaining, and I will see you guys in another video.
My lord, bless thy safe return.